Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you so much. Glad you came. I always see Rocky here. Thank you, Rocky, for always coming. I see Rose and Andrea and Kimberly and Joanne and Lori and another Joanne. This is kind of fun. We have about 120 people that registered for this webinar. So we're kind of excited, but we think we'll probably get about 25, whatever, to show up. But then a lot of people watch these in recordings on their own time. The beauty of you guys that have showed up is that you can move your mouse, go to the bottom of your screen, go to the left of the share screen button, and you'll see the chat box. And there's Rocky. And you can please sign in on the chat box and just say hi and where you're from, okay? So I just signed in. Hi from Wilmette, Illinois. So you guys can sign in. I wanna make sure you can use your chat box because we love to hear from you. We're very thankful that you guys are showing up. We're continuing through the end of 2021 to do the free webinars every Tuesday and Thursday night. But starting with 2022, we're going to just Tuesday nights. So, so you guys just get ready. I'm Sara Kooperman. I'm the CEO of SCW Fitness and WATERinMOTION and one of the founders of the SEAT Fitness Program, SEAT, Supported Exercise for Ageless Training. We just launched it, kind of exciting stuff. I'll ask Carter to put the link to it in the chat box. And I see people are here from Atlanta, Georgia, North Carolina, California, Texas, New York City, Wisconsin. Are we coming to California? Yes. Yes, Rocky, we're coming to California. We will be there. I believe this year it's at the beginning of April instead of March. I'm not quite sure why, but it is. And then I see Germantown, Missouri, and I even see Powhatan, Virginia. So that's kind of exciting. Thank you guys for joining us. We've got a wonderful panel. We're going to be talking tonight about body positivity and body dysmorphia, or a negative feeling about your own body, has been slowly rising in recent years, particularly in our younger generation. This is all too commonly spread by individuals in the fitness space. Unfortunately, I think we see it all the time on Instagram, particularly, of course, in Instagram and other social media forums. And our experts are going to chat with us about body positivity and ways we can encourage our clients not only to be physically more healthy, but mentally more healthy as well. And I'm going to introduce our lovely panel. I'm going to start with Jessica Maurer. Jessica is actually the Senior Director of Development for Fit for Moms. So she works with moms and is a consultant for many fitness companies. She also continues to offer consulting services to locally owned businesses and fitness pros. So we welcome Jessica. She's one of our favorite people and is quite the expert in social media. We're going to hit on her about this. Rachel Lauria founded Believe2Achieve. And we love Rachel because she's Vince's daughter. It's kind of a joke, but she won the Atlanta Mania Fitness Idol, and she's been coming to show after show. People absolutely adore her. She's a certified fitness instructor. She also worked closely with Beachbody and Shaun T while the Cize workout was being developed. And it really inspired her to create her own fitness program, and it's not only Believe2Achieve, but it's Weigh2Dance, WEIGH2dance.com. It's really great. And she does bootcamp beats as well. And Gretchen Ged is a highly experienced fitness professional. Plus, she looks beautiful. Doesn't she look beautiful tonight? She came in sweaty and I'm sorry, girl, kind of ugly, right? puts her hair up, throws on the earrings. I'm like, who just walked out of the bathroom and became Gretchen Ged? Her experience with various populations and their need to be more than just fitness led her to create the MIMO method. This is a virtual wellness platform that supports clients as they learn to reframe their thoughts around food, activity, and body image. Very, very important stuff. And as 2020 brought along all these changes, her business expanded and she began doing on-demand fitness. And we're really excited also to welcome Carla Gilfrey. Carla actually has a master's degree in counseling psychology. She's our scientific chick in the room here, okay? She's sometimes known to her studio members as Frankie G, and I'm going to make her explain that to you. She's the owner of the Stiletto Gym and also of Polga, which is pole yoga, which is a wonderful fitness system. And she's a woman empowerment coach and a licensed professional counselor with the bachelor's in psychology as well as her master's degree. And she combines mind and body in everything she teaches. And she's all about celebrating the sexy, which is a podcast that she has. I highly recommend Celebrating the Sexy. If you can, Carter, can you find that and put the link to the podcast in there? That would be really terrific. Now, I'm going to start with you, Jessica, and we're going to chat about why has body dysmorphia spiked in recent years?
I really think it's because we now as a society live online. We live in a digital space, whether that's in social media or emails or blogs even. We live completely online. And that allows for us to really highly curate the vision and the focus of what we put out there. It allows for us to take 5 million selfies before we post one. It allows for us to take video after video, get rid of the bloopers. It allows for us to use filters and cropping. Everything that was happening in the 80s and the 90s with Photoshop, with how cameras were lining up with supermodels, were how they were using the lights for videos and magazines, we've learned how to do with our own smart devices. And so that allows for us to lead this highly false life online. And that's what the generation right now is growing up thinking is normal. They're growing up thinking that living their life completely curated and online with filters and with the best angles is the only way to live. And they don't get to actually see the reality of what life is, what normal everyday life is. And they have this idea of perfectionism that they want to constantly strive to achieve. And because they're always on that path of impression to perfection, they are not really accepting who they are and what they have to offer.
And I think also in some regards, they look out there and they think everybody else is perfect. I was chatting with my cousin just last night. We're very close. And I was like, I look at all these people on social media and they've got these perfect families. And I've got 4 boys and there's always one who's screwing up. That's all I can say. It's like I have minutes or weeks or maybe a couple hours where everybody's good and then something happens. And I think we set these standards, and I wonder if that leads to depression. Carla, can you elaborate on that a little bit? I think you're muted.
There we go. Yes, thank you. Yes, I think you're right. I think that we're inundated with these images and with this, perfect lifestyle that really does not exist. And I think people are becoming more aware that really doesn't exist. It's not a thing. People's lives aren't perfect. And I believe that social media or media in general has portrayed, life is perfect, which it's not. And I think doing webinars, doing discussions like this really brings to light that everyone struggles. No one has a perfect life. And that what you see on social media is not perfect. And we all do it. I mean, everyone, takes the best selfie, post only positive images and positive things, which is okay. But you have to also understand that it's not real. Like every day is not like that. And I think people with underlying depressive thoughts, maybe it just magnifies those, where others can, kind of understand that this is not real. We all do it, but, everyone struggles. Everyone has their days. Everyone has sadness and no one is perfect. And I think the more that we bring it up and bring it to light and have discussions like this, the better for everyone.
And how do you deal with that, Gretchen? Because you deal with a lot of women that not only in the fitness space, but also it's physically and mentally trying to create their best self or discover their best self.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I noticed, especially like, talking about how things have changed a little bit since the pandemic, is when people would come to me with these thoughts of where they needed to be in life, even as a life coach client, knowing my fitness background, it would always inevitably come back to something about their body. And what I noticed was so many people were stuck trying to make these big goals happen, but from a place where, like Carla said, their thoughts were still entrenched in this area of body shame or body hate. And we can identify this in our clients just by listening to them. First of all, if their goals are only rooted in changing something about their physical appearance, it's good for us to start the conversation about what else. We don't have to have these massive degrees and trainings, just to ask them that simple question of what else, and maybe shift them to this next place. I call it the body positivity journey, which would be body neutrality. Like, I am me and I am capable and I have a body. Eventually, we hope to get them to body freedom, which is look at what I can do with my body and I can live in harmony with this body regardless of where it is. But if we're really, really listening, we can be a catalyst for change in those thoughts just by asking them to step outside their body for a second. What do they really want? Where do they really want to go? It doesn't have to be a physical change at the root of everything.
I think that's really interesting. Before we turned the camera on, we were all chatting as I was running and putting my chicken in the oven. Yes, it's white meat, but I kept the skin on. All right. Anyway, I like to ski. I'm a big skier. I used to be a runner. I can't be a runner anymore. I've got 3 knee surgeries because I like to ski. And I do strength training program. I actually do the body pump program from Les Mills. Love it. Always have. But I used to skimp and not do the bicep curl track because I didn't want big biceps. I didn't want my arms to look thick. I did triceps because I want those Jennifer Aniston arms, but I didn't do the bicep track because of the way it was I would look. And now I sit here and I'm doing every single track and I'm doing the bicep track because the quality of life that I want to have. But I got to tell you, at times, we're in this fitness industry and we are the way we look. And it's a worry and it's a bit of a struggle. Rachel, you've done a lot of work with Beachbody and Shaun T, and I'm sure you show up on those sets and it's a different world. How do you navigate through that?
So I'm kind of going off of what you were saying though, Sara, as I go through this, but that idea. So I think it's important to realize that there's this idea of looking a certain way and that a reward is going to become from looking that way. And what I always tell my clients, and the first thing I say is, why do you want to look that way? Or why didn't you do the bicep track? Because I didn't want bigger biceps. Why don't you want bigger biceps? Because society is telling you that you shouldn't have bigger biceps. Or society is telling you you should look this way instead of this way, when there's no right or wrong in your body. Some people are living in larger bodies, some are living in smaller bodies, and that's just how it is. And it's navigating through that that's going to make you stronger. And until you find that pure, how Gretchen said, with that body freedom of truly loving who you are, you're not going to move forward in your journey. And that may not be losing weight for you. That may not be looking like, as you said, Jennifer Aniston, she's an alien. So I'm sorry, but in a good way. But, when I went through Beachbody, I lost 100 pounds through Beachbody because they had me on something. And this is in no way looking down on Beachbody or Shaun T or anything. He's still a very close friend of mine. I respect him. He's helped me with my program, all of that. But, going through that, I lost 100 pounds in 10 months, and that was celebrated so much so that my entire career and lifestyle changed just because my outer appearance changed. So you can imagine the mental strain that took on me, because nothing changed about my dancing, my ability to choreograph, my ability to do anything in the fitness industry. And it spiked my fitness, my goals to be a fitness instructor. And I grew and grew and grew. And then, life happens, weight comes back on. And all of a sudden I'm seeing a completely different change. People don't reach out as much because they no longer see me posting a picture saying, look, I lost 20 pounds in 2 months. So I am no longer, there is it's so in our brains that I want to see, success, or I want to see a result rather than a long-term lifestyle change, that the world, that's what I want to see change. I want the world to move into a direction that it is not all about that body image anymore. And, showing up on set, I still to that day would go in and be, even though I lost all that weight, I went in and still was like, oh, I'm not fit, or I don't look like some of these other women or these other men that are here. And now I look back on it and it's like, why did I ever feel that way? Why would I ever feel that way? Nothing's changed with me. I'm the same Rachel I've been for years, but the outer appearance changes and things change and people look at you differently. And that's what I think is important as we move forward in this, is to get that out of our heads. There is no expectation. Let it go.
And that negative speak that kind of kept you losing, you just, that's so unhealthy. What I loved, and thank you for sharing that. That's, there's a lot of people out there that simply are out of touch with how they feel about themselves. What I love what you said, Jessica, was you shared that you feel that there is also a movement for people to share their real selves. Like, I remember Jamie Lee Curtis, didn't she post herself in her underwear? What magazine was that, Rachel? You're nodding. I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the magazine, but I remember seeing it and being like,
I think it had to be People. I love People magazine. Don't tell anybody. I watch reruns of Friends. I'm sorry. And I love People magazine. It's my Sunday afternoon total pleasure. Oh my gosh. But, and I think she posted it. But anyway, Jessica, I love that there's a little movement or momentum towards authenticity. Where do you see that? And when do you think it started and why?
I actually think it started much earlier than what we're seeing, but social media allows for us to be much louder, much bolder, much brasser in our words. So while this may have been something that was really starting in the late 90s, we're really seeing it much more in our face now because we have the availability of searching for keywords and using hashtags, and it's much more around and in our face. But there is this giant movement, especially in the fitness industry, I'm finding, that is this body acceptance of you are who you are right now. We're all at different stages of our journey. We all are having different journeys going in different directions, and we all can just be really accepting of that journey. But there is this undercurrent happening of, not only am I not going to wear makeup on social, I mean, look at Alicia Keys, she's on national TV not wearing makeup, and to the point where she's not letting people Photoshop her in magazines either. So we're starting to see this kind of trickle to celebrities, not just on a social media platform, but there are people who are also saying, not only am I not going to wear makeup, but I'm not going to use filters. I'm also going to show you the real moments of life, the times where jeans don't fit the way they used to, or the times where maybe I did lose a lot of weight, but in a really unhealthy way. And I'm going to be honest and open about how the unhealthy weight loss has actually affected me mentally. We also, as a society, are talking about mental health a lot more than we ever have. And that side of things, of being able to come forward and be open and honest and authentic about your mental struggles, not just your physical struggles, has allowed for people to be much more open and aware of their physical, I love the word body freedom, Greg, I think that's perfect, Gretchen, being able to have this freedom of living inside their body and their minds.
And what's interesting is you bring that up, and I'm like, all these examples. Madonna says she doesn't, no Botox, no anything. I'm like, well, I think she's kind of foolish, but that's okay. But sorry, she's beautiful. And we look at what happened with the Super Bowl. Do you remember he had all those people wearing it wasn't a mask, it was a mask, and he was trying to don't do plastic surgery. which I think it's interesting. I think you're absolutely correct, Jessica. And just as strongly as there is this movement on social media to how do we do the ring light? Like before we turned the camera on, Carter was helping us. Carter Anderson is on our creative team, and he's also one of our business people that work with SCW. And we were chatting about Zoom. I mean, Zoom is so sophisticated that you almost don't need a ring light anymore. You can just go and adjust your video screen and go to your video settings through your little, on the lower left corner, that little camera icon and the little caret, click on the caret, go to video settings, and you can adjust your appearance. I mean, it's getting so easy for us to lift our phones up or lift what up and get an image of ourselves. So I find that fascinating. We have one side of Zoom getting more sophisticated and everybody knows how to take a selfie now. And then we have the other side of the authenticity that we're trying to reinforce with everybody. And I also see that on Lululemon and Athletica and Nike, that you're seeing a much more body positivity. Gretchen, you're nodding. And how do we know that it's affecting our clients? How do we connect with our clients and even ourselves to realize this is happening and try to address it?
Gosh, yeah. Have you heard of metacognition? No, but with ourselves, it's a big fancy word that just means think about what you're thinking about. But I think I'd like to address that part first, because mostly the people that are here in the fitness industry, and we can be our own worst enemies. Rachel really hit on a lot of that. But what's going on in our heads will eventually come out of our mouths, and not always at the most opportune times. And I think a lot of people here are probably group fitness instructors. I know that's my first dipping toe into SCW. I was group fitness instructor. And we know how when we're in those classes and we're cueing, everyone's had a moment where you just say something totally weird, right? Because of what's going on up here. And so we have to be really aware of how we are talking about our bodies to ourselves, so that when we're in a class with people, we can give them back what they need to be saying to themselves. So in that instance, like I was talking about one-on-one with clients, we can ask them the questions. That's probably not a lot of people unless you're spending a lot of time with personal training clients. Even then we get rushed. But in the group fitness arena, if we do the work on ourselves first, then what's going to come out of our mouths is going to be very impactful, and we can start to create a space where we encourage people to think a certain way. And even though we might not know what's going on in their head, because you can't always see people's, body shame, body hate. We can't, and people are really good at faking it, right? Like we talked about social media, people are great at faking all this stuff, and also how much is self-deprecating conversations that we have every day, and how much is true body hate. So I think, and this is just my personal opinion, that our work on ourselves, training our mind to move into a space of my body helps me move toward my goals, and that's it. Like it is what it is. It helps me move toward my goals. I take care of it, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's hard. I know it's hard. I've been there, right? I presented at an SCW like 8.5 months pregnant, and that was like a very awkward time to stand on stage teaching yoga. So yeah, I think starting with ourselves is really the place to go.
That's great. And I saw you nodding your head, Carla.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And you have to share about this and just start talking.
Oh my goodness. I'm just like, so I'm in the pole world. So this has been part of pole fitness forever. So when you go into a pole class, you'll have every age, shape, size, and everyone is there with one goal, and it's to let loose and to have fun and encourage yourself and encourage one another. So in a pole-based class, it proceeds through the class and it ends with positive thoughts about yourself and about others. We always end, go up to somebody you don't know, give them, a compliment, sexy compliment, something strong. And pole is based on what your body can do as opposed to what your body looks like. And in pole, you have to, in the beginning, people come in with yoga pants or leggings, and in order to stick to the pole, you get shorts on, short shorts, and all of a sudden people are just standing there in celebration of their bodies the way they are that day. And it's so empowering and so beautiful, and it makes me excited when women come in, and they're all coming in for various reasons. And most of our clients are women. We do have some men, but most of them are women, and they're all coming in for various reasons. Some want to, become stronger. Some are CrossFit girls that want to climb that pole and hang upside down. Others are going through a divorce or, cancer treatment or something, but everyone's in there for a variety of reasons. Every body looks different. And the main goal is to learn something new, let loose of both your thoughts about your body, what your body can and can't do, and just let it perform. And everyone is, different levels, doing different things and celebrating who they are and what they are that day. And then celebrating others of who they are and what they are that day. So that's the world of pole. And I would really like to transport that into traditional fitness classes, just because I see it and I see the impact it has on people. And, the body, they understand that the body is there to function and to become stronger, more flexible, carry them through life, so that they can live life to its fullest and feel good mentally and physically, because we can't neglect that mind-body connection. It's in everything we do. You can't take the mind from the body. You just can't do it. They're both connected the entire time we're taking a fitness class or we're doing a personal training class or what we're doing. It's all connected.
And it's really interesting you say that. I know when I'm teaching a class, I feel like I always have to walk in, even if I walk in and somebody stole my parking space and the dog ran away and I had a bad talk with my husband and one of my kids got a bad grade and and I walk into class and I take a deep breath and I get that positive attitude. And by the time I finish the class, I've listened to my own speak. You know what I mean, Carla? That positive, and I come out of there not only physically feeling better, it's not just the endorphins, it's also the positive speak. And I found that to be also the case with the webinars. Like all through this pandemic, not once have I complained about any of the webinars I've been on. Like I never said, oh, it's an hour and 15 minutes of my life. Because we always get these people, Gretchen, Rachel, Carla, Jessica donated their time to do these webinars and share their knowledge. And it's just, I get off these and I'm one step higher, which is awesome. And I think that's part of just us being teachers. So I love that all of you guys are listening in on this. And I wonder ways that we can take this with us, because I'm going to go to you, Jessica. You deal with a lot of fit for moms. And these, I don't know if they're postpartum. I'm sure you get a lot of postpartum women, but you have a baby, you have a second baby, you have tried 3 or 4. It just ain't there. You are never going to see me in a 2-piece. Okay. It's just your body. So how do you guys work? How does Fit for Mom work to maintain that positive body image and self-esteem?
I think that at Fit for Mom, we really recognize the fact that the female body is amazing. You produced a child or 2 or 3 or Sarah 4 beings out of your body. That in itself is amazing. It doesn't matter how much weight you've lost after you've done that. The fact that you created life in whatever form that you did create life is absolutely transformative and something that should be respected and loved upon greatly. What we also do at Fit for Mom for our prenatal and our postnatal moms are making sure that they understand that every day is different. Every day you're going to feel different. Every day you're going to look different. Every day there's going to be a different activity that you're going to have to get over mentally or physically. It's really all about the day-to-day journey and enjoying at every step of the way. So instead of thinking, to Gretchen's point that she brought up earlier, instead of thinking, okay, when I lose this weight, I will be rewarded. It's instead, how are you rewarded right now, living in the body with the life you have, with the mental state and the physical state that you're in. We also try to really get rid of the term body back at Fit for Mom for the same purpose that we don't want to actually go back to what we were prior to becoming moms. We want to celebrate the fact that we are now moms. And so how can we look forward and be really appreciative of what our body has done, given us, developed, and go day by day, knowing that we are, every step's going to be different. Every day is going to be different mentally. Every day is going to feel differently physically. Every day your kid is going to be different. So you are on it for every little micro step along the way. And the overall goal is to be there in the long term. So if you can be a better mover, you become a better human, you become a better mother. So be a better mover, not necessarily a stronger, a thinner, a smaller human. Don't take up less space, become more by really allowing yourself to be who you are in the moment.
I love that message. That's just fantastic. And, you know, it's so funny. I'll look at, I have my goddaughter had twins. And I looked at her and she looks phenomenal. And she's got these 11-month-old twins. And she's like, oh, I'll never get my body back. I'll never get my body back. And I'm like, looking at her and she wanted me to say, yeah, you will. And I said, you never will. You've got to move ahead. And I think it's unfortunate because I will look back at photos of myself. And I don't know if any of you ladies do this, but I'll look back at photos of myself and I'm like, and I go, God, I looked good. God, I looked good. God. But if I go back in my mental state, it was like, I thought I had 5 pounds or the belly was this, or my thighs were that. I'm like, what is wrong? I am doing bicep curls. That, you know, it's like, get the heck over it and move on. And Gretchen, you're kind of laughing, but how do we, you know, it takes a while to kind of get there and just kind of go, you know, Frank, I hope I don't offend anybody. Yeah, screw the world. I'm happy with who I am. Get over it. You know,
that's what I say.
Rachel, go ahead.
Have the damn cookie. That's what I say.
I'm having pasta tonight, so.
And if you're in the pole world, your biceps are larger, your triceps are larger just because you're pulling yourself up on the pole. So yeah, and that's
it's that inner strength that you know, being able to identify and cling to that. What steps can we take to improve our clients' perspective on themselves? And that's one of those keys. Rachel, what do you do with your clients? Because obviously, Weigh2Dance, you have a certain, you know, image, and we've got a lot of people out there that for 18 months, 19 months now, almost 20, have been sitting on the couch, have put on a weight, and they want to feel comfortable moving. And it's inspiring to see somebody who's a little bit larger being able to move not just as well, but even better than some of the people out there. How do you draw these people in, get them engaged in your program, and keep them there?
So one of the things that our mantra is fit comes in every size. So there's a lot of benefits coming from just moving the body in general for your health. And I really want to make sure people know that it is not about, when they come into my class or come into any class, that they have to have a mindset that they're not there just to lose weight. Again, it's breaking the mold. We have to stop speaking and we have to change the language of, I'm going to say the word fat. fat is bad, thin is good. We have to stop that, or we're never going to move forward, because until the brain changes, and that constant telling yourself that I have to look this way and I'm going to work out because it's good for me. It is good for you, but do it for how it feels. Do it for the feeling for you. Do it so that when you have a purpose, you come into class and you enjoy being around a bunch of people. I like to just breathe that into people. I changed. A big thing is kind of going back what Gretchen was said again, is like the language that you use in your class is huge. Change your language. We're here today to burn calories. Maybe we're not there to burn calories. Maybe I'm there because I had a stressful day and I just want to get it off my chest. We're going to get that six pack and get that beach body, right, ladies? What's a beach body? What is that to you? It may not be a bikini body or this or that. We kind of touched on that. Change your language to empowerment. We're here today because we want to be here and we want to work together. We want to get stronger. We're going to get fitter. We're just going to have a good time. That's the type of language that'll bring people in, versus that language of we want to change our bodies. We want to change. Stop changing. Be you. Be the person you are today. The mental side of it will come through, because if you keep telling yourself, I'm going to be better, or things are going to be better if I lose this, or I look this way, you're actually adding more stress to your body, and you're not going to lose weight, because the cortisol is going to start building up, the health benefit, all this stuff that we're doing to try the cleansing, the diets, this is just adding and piling and piling. And I'm coming from a personal place, which is why I get so passionate about it, is I wish I had spent less time worrying about how I looked and more time living my life, because I spent more time dieting, more time trying to look a certain way so that I could be a dancer on Broadway or whatever, versus just living who I was and loving who I was and doing what I was passionate about. And that's it. And that's all you have to do, is be passionate and live your life. Go out to eat. Don't worry about those things.
And you know what I love? Fit comes in any size. And I was at the URSA convention and they had Dr. Kenneth Cooper speaking. He just turned 90. I believe it was last month. He had his 90th birthday and he was talking. And you know what? If you look at the difference between someone who's moderately healthy and someone who's extremely healthy, there's not that much difference. It's like, I know if I hear one more thing about HIIT training, you know, it ain't, I once took a HIIT class. I felt like we were doing push-ups on the bench. I thought I have to lift up the bench. I have to vomit in the pod underneath the bench, close the top of the step, and then I could continue on with my push-ups. I could not do it. You don't have to get to this high level of intensity to get healthy. It's a moderate level of intensity, and it's about consistency, and I want to say quality, not meaning quality of the movement, quality of what you're lifting, you know, heavier, longer, more intensely. I'm talking about enjoying it and living through the movement. And I love that. I love that reference. And Carla, how do you approach body positivity differently with a male or female client? Because you said most of your clients are women at the pole yoga studio.
Yes. So most of them are women. With men, it's different, I think. With men, it's more about, you know, if they're having any body image issues, it's more about, you know, muscle mass, what their muscles are, they're too thin, and again, when they come into our studio, it's just about strength and about what they can do. And, you know, they're able to climb the pole, and then they see their body become more flexible, because men have some little bit more issues with flexibility sometimes. So they see that positive change as far as flexibility. But again, it's all focused on what the body can do, instead of what the body looks like. And again, the message from the time anyone walks into the studio is positive about yourselves and about others. And it's not stated, it's just like a given. So that's just the nature of the studio, the nature of how we teach, the nature of how I train my instructors. It's not like a stated, You have to be positive when you come in. It's just what happens and what occurs. And then our goal is for everyone to feel better mentally, emotionally when they leave. So they shouldn't be tortured in class. They should be having fun. They should feel good about themselves, about their body, what their body has done. They've laughed, they've had a good time. They may or may not have, broke a sweat. That's okay. It's all good. Yeah.
And Gretchen, how do you approach that? How do you approach your clients to make sure the body positivity is there? And do you talk about change, or do you talk about appreciation? And what are some like bad words for us not to use, and trying to stay authentic?
Yeah. So actually, in the classes that I do, I borrow a little bit from like what Carla's doing, where I always try to end with some kind of positive thought. I almost, I have a strong background in yoga, so I almost have like a little mini meditation at the end, no matter what the class is. We always have that. And I mean, anyone that's listening can do that just during cool down, turn the music down a little bit, give them some thoughts back. But when it comes to helping my personal clients, when they come to me for the MIMO method, which is 12 weeks, we actually spend 4 whole weeks. We have group coaching and they have, videos they watch, but we talk about nothing to do with the body. And some get a little frustrated, not going to lie, in this moment, because we almost have to like tear it down to build it back up. So to get to that place of I'm going to have good thoughts about my body, we have to be able to step back and figure out what it is we're really wanting to achieve. We've heard it over and over in here. Like, we are so much more than our body. And the words that I personally don't like to use is labeling anything good or bad. As simple as that. Like, we just don't ever give anything a good or bad label, whether it's what we're eating, especially what we're eating. That's a really, big place, or how our workout was or whatever. We just got to figure out some other words, but that's kind of a simple way to start.
And I like the way you talked about what are you going to achieve. Well, all you girls are younger than me. I'm 62 years old. And what I always say in my class, you know what? Maintenance is a goal. Just maintain, just enjoy, and celebrate the different changes in your life. But it's that maintenance. And I did love, Robin shared, it brings to mind my personal motto: exercise for thy mind and thy body will follow. And I really like that. And enjoying what you do. And I can't even believe this. Of course, as usual, we're going to go over, but whatever. Jessica, can you provide some tips on how to better navigate social media and the comparison game that goes on?
I hope so. What I always advise for my clients is to be realistic. If you look at your profile and all you've shown that you have done is put other people down or brought up food like, oh, all I ate today was celery and I did 7 workouts and I went on a marathon run, like, you're putting out this impression that is unrealistic. And so your future clients are going to look at that and say, oh, I can never do that. She is crazy and fitness isn't for me. So instead, come at social media and as a fitness personality, as a fitness professional, and be realistic about your journey. Tell them on the days when you don't feel motivated and how you got past them. Tell them on the days where you woke up and you were like, I'm not putting on any spandex. I'm wearing black all day. I'm not looking in the mirror. Tell them when you have those moments of those mental breakdowns of, we as group fitness instructors, we live in a box of mirrors. We are going to have those days where we tear ourselves apart too. And if you share your journey, it makes everything so much more realistic to your clientele. The other thing I would really recommend is for people to get away from doing before and after photos. The before and after photos put out this mentality that something is wrong with you before and something is better about you after. And to Rachel's point before, you're the exact same person, even if your weight may have changed. So instead, focus on the accomplishments of, she couldn't run a mile before, she went through this boot camp journey with me, and now she's able to move. She's able to bend over and pick things up without hurting herself, to go hiking. She's able to accomplish this movement goal instead of focusing on, this is what she looks like in a sports bra before, and this is what she looks like after. Kind of the same thing with food. When you're going through a food mentality, it's not necessarily a this or that, a hard no and a hard yes. It's instead, to your point, Sara, everything in moderation. Like, it's going to be okay to go celebrate your birthday. It's going to be okay to celebrate your kid's birthday. Is it okay to do it every day? Probably not, because we know refined sugar has issues with more than just weight and has to deal with your organ issues and mental issues. So it's not just about depriving yourself. The one last part I want to bring up is the punishment game. Is something else that you don't want to do on social media is, I ate this, therefore I have to go do this. I did celebrate my birthday. Now I've got to go teach 7 cycle classes in order to feel better about myself. Like, that's something that you're telling yourself, then you are having issues that you're sharing and passing on and rippling to other people out on social. So reframe it, and you should never punish yourself for what you eat. Instead, you should be able to celebrate and then get back to your level of moderation.
Oh, I love it. I think that's great. I'm going to show you guys a little video. And here we go. I'm just going to share with you. We've got Boston Mania coming up. And here we go.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Are you ready now? You're lifting off the ground. Welcome back. No coming down. Can you feel it all around? Oh, 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 oh. Welcome back. Are you ready now? You're lifting off the ground. Welcome back. No coming down. Can you feel it all around? Welcome back. Are you ready now? You're lifting off the ground. Welcome back. No coming down. Can you feel it all around? Welcome back. Are you ready now? You're lifting off the ground. Welcome back. No coming down. Can you feel it all around?
So this is very exciting. We've gone live with Midwest Mania. We went live with Dallas Mania. We're going live with Boston. We've seen a climb from Midwest attendance, about 30%, 35% up for Dallas. And for Boston, who knows what's going to happen? It is in the beginning of December, but give yourself a good holiday gift. Get yourself to Boston Mania. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Rachel, Gretchen, Carla, and Jessica. You guys are wonderful. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Carter, for herding us cats and keeping it alive. Thank you all for joining us, and we want you to have a wonderful evening. I'm going to eat my chicken. Okay. Okay, bye, everybody. Thank you.